Welcome to the newly rebranded show, Bald Headed Logic.
Welcome to Bald Headed Logic. Three Huskies and NFL alumni whose brains got so big, all their hair popped off. Greg Lewis, Charles Mincy, Donald Jones, with their host, Coach Troy.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the hottest podcast on the internet. Former professional athletes trying to break it down and give you guys some of our bald-headed logic. Joined by, as always, my brothers, Donald Jones, Charles Mincy, two Husky former All-American, All-Conference superstars and NFL players. Myself, Greg Lewis, running back extraordinaire, and the man who pulled us all together, the coach, young man who's always been there looking out for kids through the world of sports and that lens. So we decided to get together each week and come at you guys with the hardest hitting topics that are out there. So welcome once again to Bald Headed Logic. Troy, what we're going to talk about today, Coach?
Man, I'm telling you what, man, I think today we really need to talk about that. You know, me being a diminutive person myself, you know, I've always been a fan of the small point guard, and Jalen Brunson had put on a show. He slayed the dragon. You know, he was the David to the Goliath. You know, Wemby at 7'12", and you know, and Jalen at 6 feet nothing. You know, the Knicks put on a show. You know, gentlemen sweep the Spurs, and you know, right now, I think, you know, in my opinion, Jalen put himself up there in the conversation with, you know, the all-time, you know, 6'2" and under type players in the league. And I kind of want to hear y'all's opinion, man. Did Jalen put himself in that conversation with the all-time greats at, you know, 6'2", 6 feet and under type players?
No, you don't get to do that. You don't get to do that. You said but this dude was in the all-time. Don't talk about he put himself in the conversation or something. You said specifically all-time great. So handle that. Let's talk on that.
I noted.
Okay, noted. No, I think he is an all-time great. I don't think he is I don't think he is the greatest. He can put his resume up against anybody 6'2" and under. His resume, as far as high school, college, pros, he can put it up against anybody right now.
Well, let me start off the conversation for this reason. I need to eat my big slice of humble pie, because I came on here for several weeks saying that I thought there was no way that a team from the East could end up winning the NBA championship. And then when we got to the finals, I definitely picked the San Antonio Spurs to win this. So as part of maybe you building your case for him being on that list of all-time greats, saying that he led his team to this championship. So I'll start it off so I can have my humble pie and go from there. I'll say this.
Who said it? And who was right?
Everybody else was right except for me. I got no problem mentioning that. Like I said, you know, when you take a test and you get 9 out of 10, you run it at 90%. Ain't no problem.
There you go.
You lost the other one too in the Western Conference Finals too, man. You 0-2, man.
So no, we're not gonna do that, because if we want to count, let's go back to who picked the national champion, right? In football, who picked the national championship?
He want to go back to the Negro League.
So
he
let's
said, he's trying to go back
until you snap the each one.
Let's put a little scorecard on the corner of our podcast and keep a running total of who's right and who's wrong. Bet that. So Troy still.
They said
Troy
you
still.
I'm 2-0. So I like those odds now.
Yeah, no. Like I said, if you want to count, let's go back to January 1 and go from there. So that's all I'm gonna say. So yeah, I was wrong. Wow, big deal. My point was that's probably a feather in the cap of Jalen Brunson, that he led a team, and I still believe that San Antonio was a more talented team, but obviously they didn't have the heart, nor did they have the
experience
and experience to win this championship, because every game at some point they led by double figures, every single game.
Every game.
Where they were up 29 in the second half, and the biggest collapse in history. And I didn't catch the exact number, but someone showed a total of the number of minutes that San Antonio led in the series and the number that New York and San Antonio was on the positive side of that. So sometimes the best team doesn't win, but the best team doesn't mean the most talented. So they truly are. New York was the best team, but maybe not the most talented. Having said that, I think Jalen Brunson threw himself in the conversation of being one of the best 6'2" and under players. But I have my list where I certainly think there are 4 or 5 guys that are better than him. And so, is he in the conversation? I'll say yes from that standpoint. Troy wants to go all the way back to his middle school days or Pop Warner Pee Wee days. I'm just really talking about his play in the NBA. I think I can name guys, that are better than him at that stature and that size, but I think he deserves now that he has a championship and he's on the front stage to be in that conversation.
So, Chuck, who are those guys that Greg's talking about that's better than him? Give me a few.
You can't ask Chuck.
I could
have a different list.
I could give you a couple, but I'm going to say this.
Your Mount Rushmore.
Guys are the same guy.
What we're not going to do is this dude who plays in the skinny jean era and then claim that he the next GOAT after winning 1 championship. That's, you know what? They tried to claim what's the little kid from Canada last year? Now he was the GOAT until he just lost. So all of a sudden these dudes, these new booties just pop out of nowhere and we setting crowns on their head. We even blinging them in the conversation. It's a stretch.
Can't put him in that
That's
conversation.
A stretch, even blinging them in the conversation. That's a stretch. Just bling them there. But I can give you a couple. Steph.
Curry, the handles. Curry. Cross. Sauce.
Stop
Bucket.
It.
Allen Iverson. Chris Paul.
Big man, but I love this. 2 small guys. They don't even know how to jump ball. Chris Paul probably hasn't jumped ball since 8th grade.
Kyrie Irving.
2-3, 3-2 type of guy to defend other teams' small forwards.
Kyrie.
Oh, no!
Damian Lillard.
Carried a 7-point lead at the half. They're up 14 right now. Whoa!
Who's on your Mount?
Stephon Marbury should be in the Hall of Fame.
Who's the first person to bust your ass?
I got to go with Stephon Marbury.
Has anyone ever made you fearful?
Stephon Marbury.
Mount Rushmore. Let's make it simple.
He not. That's who I know who's not. I know who's not on my Mount Rushmore, and this Jalen Brunson is not on my Mount Rushmore by no means an imagination. That I know who's not on my Rushmore. I like everybody else. I even like Brunson, but him coming in the conversation is way premature. Way premature.
So I can speak for myself and tell you who my list contains that are better than him right now. And I think there's a secondary group that you can throw him in with, which are some of the names that Chuck mentioned besides the ones that I believe. But obviously, Isaiah Thomas. Zeke is on my Mount Rushmore. He may be number 1 or 2, but he is definitely.
Can't argue that.
Steph, the Chef Curry, he's a small scoring point guard, which is what Jalen Brunson is, who reimagined basketball, changed the culture and the way we play. He's definitely on there as well, in my opinion, of the small point guards. I think Allen Iverson, for some of the same reasons, changing the culture, changing the look, the way people play the game, some of the things they do now with the crossovers and all that. And then, of course, his scoring ability and what he meant to the game. And he took his team to a championship, although he didn't win. And then I like to go back old school, because one of the things Chuck did say is we like to focus so much on the here and now and guys that are playing in this era. But I think there's some homage that needs to go back to the old school. So if I'm going to pick somebody, I like to throw a name that people don't think about. And I like Nate Tiny Archibald.
6'1", Nate Tiny Archibald.
Only one player in the history of the NBA has led the league in both scoring and assists. Tiny Archibald averaged 34 points and 11 assists per game.
This player was one of the greatest diminutive guys that played in the NBA. His stats say he definitely was there. He didn't get a championship till late in his career, but he unfortunately happened to play for the Boston Celtics when they were pretty much trash. He was the only guy doing it. What he did in the season which there are very few people you can put on the list where he led the league in scoring and assists at the same time. So not only was he scoring the basketball, but he was also getting it to his teammates. Usually you got
the whole team.
and you got a guy who gets a lot of assists. But those two coming together don't usually happen because that's a tough task. So I think Nate Tiny Archibald should be on that list. So those are my 4 guys who I say right now still rank ahead of Brunson without question to me.
Greg, can I ask you a question real quick? Can I ask you a question? Can someone that played in 1972 be in the same conversation for someone that played in the year 2026? The era for me, the basketball that Tiny Nate was one of my favorites. They used to call me that growing up in the park. Tiny Nate's one of my all-time favorites. But my point is, if you're going to talk about Tiny Nate at that particular time, do you have to separate the game in the way it was played back in 1972 versus Jalen Brunson playing right now in 2026?
I don't think it's changed much for that size of player, though. That size of player didn't really change that much.
Yeah, but we do that all the time for everybody. I mean, you can't, I talk about players who are great in their era. I don't call anyone the greatest of all time over the whole thing, but what he did in his era, based on the rules, the technology, the schemes, all of that was more dominant than what Jalen Brunson is doing in his era in some of the same type of ways. So if you're asking me if they play one-on-one against each other right now in today's rules, who would be better? Or if they play team in today's rules or team in today's rules, who knows? Because there's not that care. But Tiny Archibald, what he did in his era of basketball, to me is more impressive than what Jalen Brunson. I didn't say it was way and lots and all that. I'm just saying to me it was more impressive.
What you thinking, Don? I see you smiling. What you thinking?
Man, there's no way in the world that I would not put put Tiny Archibald ahead of Jalen Brunson. No, there's no way, and I'll tell you why. First of all, we're talking guard 6'2" and under. There's only been but 3 guys that lead their teams. That was the best player on the team that was 6'2" and under. There's only been 3 that lead the teams to the championship. That alone puts them in that category. I got on my Mount Rushmore. I agree with Greg for the most part, but I got Isaiah. I got AI. I have who did I have?
You don't have
Steph Curry. Mm-hmm. Steph Curry, and I got Jalen Brunson coming in there because once I really start looking into what this guy has done, I mean, this dude won 2 chips in the NCAA. I mean, you know how hard to win a chip in the
Final Four. That's huge.
I mean, he won 2. Mm-hmm. And the first one, this guy took a bunch of pretty much, I would say good players, but not. He didn't have a great number 2 player. I mean, he had big guys.
Two of the other guys he won the championship
are on the team.
NBA and starters. What are you talking
about? Are on the
team.
Yeah,
but they're not all-stars.
In the NBA. Most college players don't even make it.
They're not all-stars, Greg.
Dude, most college players don't make it to the
NBA. Normally, they have the big 3, right? Everybody got the big 3. But this dude is he's really the only superstar on the team.
Dude, how many college players?
He's a point guard.
What percentage of college players make it to the NBA?
Nate Archibald, man, come on, man. Nate Archibald, he led the league in scoring and assists.
At the same time,
he won only 30 games, man. He was passing it to himself. He didn't have nobody else. I mean,
you just said it. He didn't have anybody else. If Jalen Brunson was on those teams,
let me finish my point.
Let me finish my point.
Let you talk. Let me finish my point. Let me finish my point. Now, at some point, we got to put some respect in winning chips. You guys don't respect winning chips. I mean, it's not the BN and the end all, but what I'm saying is, if you all that, you should at least lead your team to a winning record. If you can't lead your team to a winning record, and you think I'm going to put you ahead of Jalen Brunson? No way. A guy that got to win 30 games in a year, and then Brunson takes his team. Takes a New York Knicks team that hadn't won a championship in 53 years.
He didn't play on those 53-year teams.
The toughest city in the whole world to play in. Everybody talking trash about him. And this dude took his team and won the chip. And they weren't even the favorites, man. And that's what I'm saying is he's just 6'1", but when the game is on the line, that dude is money. That dude comes through he comes through like nobody has ever done in the history of the game in the playoffs. He was doing it when it counts, man. I mean, you can go for all the guys with the superstars, and I'm gonna tell you another stat too. Jalen Brunson averaged more points than Tiny Archibald throughout his career. He just had one really great season.
They both averaged 19 points a game throughout their career. One's 18.9, the other one's 19.2. So don't give me that he averaged more points.
Right. And who's more? And who averages more? Jalen Brunson averages more.
They average the same number of points.
He averaged the same in scoring, and he won a chip as the best player on the team.
Who averaged the most assists? It's not even close. It's not even close. And
he only averaged, 2 more assists than he is throughout his career.
He didn't even average one more point, but you brought that into the conversation. So don't pick and choose which ones you want.
What I'm saying is it's close. That stats are close.
And secondly, let me ask you this.
Him over the hump, that Tiny was a great player. I don't want to disrespect him. He's a great player. But when we compare the GOAT stuff, we got to nitpick, man. And when you nitpick...
So let me nitpick a little bit. Let me nitpick a little bit. Jalen Brunson has never been the best at anything at any year in the NBA for any point. That shows you that he's not the dominant guy. He's not the best scorer. He's not the best assist guy. What he is the best player on a really good team, bro. He's not the best at anything. Tiny Archibald is the best.
He got the MVP of the championship. That's what you measure the best.
Hey,
you measure the best by who won the chip, man.
Tiny Archibald was the best of a whole season, not a series, not a game. He was the best person in the entire. He was dominant best person in the entire NBA over.
He wasn't dominating. He was
MVP of the league. Now, don't get it twisted. He was not the MVP of the league.
That's all subjective, Don. That doesn't mean he wasn't the best.
That should tell you something, though.
Okay, I'll say this. He was the best scorer in the league, and he was the best assist person in the league over everybody. You can't refute that. Over everybody. Jalen Brunson has never even been top 10 consistently in 2 categories. He was the best over everybody, and he was in the top scorers 4 times out of his 11 years. I mean, assists 4 times out of 11 years and points 3 times. Jalen Brunson hasn't done that yet. And the number of years they played different was only 3 years, 8 to 11. So he's coming up on that. So he's got some ways to catch up. But a team dynamic, here's what I'll tell you this, Don. If you take Jalen Brunson right now and you put him on those Boston Celtic teams that Tiny Archibald was on, he wouldn't have won no championship either. So the argument about championship,
he would have been murdering dude.
Guarantee he would have.
Always about the guys that are on the team with you. You can't win a championship by yourself. You can be the best player in the world. If you took Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and put him on the worst team with no good players, not going to win, especially at the guard position where there's even less dominance that you can have physically and imposing and all that. Nate Tiny Archibald was the best in the NBA at 2 things that led the league at the same time.
For 1 season.
It doesn't matter.
Wait a minute. What you talking about? Wait a minute.
Jalen Brunson was never best. And then, Don, and let me point this last thing out, Chuck.
Jalen Brunson.
Then you jump in.
Has been in the league for 15 years. Jalen Brunson been in the league for 8 years. He ain't did nothing.
Well, you gotta understand this. You gotta understand he was a 2nd-round draft pick, dude. He didn't even play till after his 3rd year.
So now we moving the criteria.
And he wasn't good enough.
We keep moving the criteria.
He was always. Now, what I'm saying is he was always underestimated. People always.
He got his chance.
They said he won't
underestimate.
He's always proven too small. When he got his chance, look what he did.
Hey, he went to the finals
with Dallas. He went to, as the number 2 player, he went to the final.
AVRAGE, average.
And Chuck, let me show you how Don moves the goalposts.
7 years.
Let me tell you how Don moves the goalposts. So he wants to talk about how Tiny Archibald didn't win a championship until his last year. But he's got AI on his list who never won a championship.
No, listen. What I'm saying is, you need to make a team, get your team to the playoffs. Not at least get him to the playoffs. He can't even get his team to the playoffs.
Again, team goals. I tell you right now, if I'm putting a team together and I need a point guard, I got 8 good players.
Don knows that argument is trash.
He's the greatest team of all time. Get Kobe and Shaq. He got him one. He got him one. And plus, he's from Virginia.
Matter until his player don't have one. Then championship don't matter.
A trash. Can we float a dump truck icon across the screen? Because that argument is trash.
Trash.
What are you talking about? I mean, listen to what you guys are saying. 30-win guy. You guys give him
you
credit.
got a bum team, Don. You can't make chicken salad out of chicken. You know what? You got one great player.
Well,
everybody else ain't no good.
What I'm saying is he never led his team. He never led his team when they to the championship. He was like the third or fourth option by the time.
Okay, you know what I'm gonna do? This is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'll do. By your standards, I'm gonna replace Jalen Brunson with John Stockton.
In my opinion, John Stockton was the greatest point guard to ever play.
John Stockton embarrassed me, dog. Like, John Stockton made me feel like damn, dog, like, do I know how to play basketball? You know, you had that moment where you like, am I sorry, dog?
You actually said that John Stockton was harder to guard than Michael Jordan.
Yeah, I got to guard him 94 feet. He throwing passes. He always moving. He's taking charges on me. He doing a lot of things. And I look up there and I say, man, he got 27, 16, 5'5". I can't deal with that.
Because that's who you arguing is the best ever is the John Stockton. That's what you saying. That's who's on your
John Stockton. You can make an argument for John Stockton. You can make an argument for him to be in that category. Yes, exactly right.
You said Mount Rushmore. How many presidents are on Mount Rushmore? If I'm not mistaken, how many presidents are on Mount Rushmore?
How many what?
4
presidents are on
4.
Mount Rushmore. 4. So you saying 4. So we're going to take Steph off, Chris Paul off, Isaiah
I did not
Thomas
say that.
off,
No.
Kyrie
Steph
off. I'm just mentioning
Steph Curry's on
take off.
And Chris Paul can come off.
Tony Parker, we got Tony Parker still, who's multiple championships in. Who do we take off?
He was never the best player on his team, though. Just
because you had a team of average people. Here's another thing. This is what I want to bring up, too. Hey, man, this level of competition was kind of trash. When we go into it, and Greg just talked about it, when you go into almost every game leading by double digits and lose, you dealing with a bum team. And I hate to put it like that, but that's the truth. How can we get a dude who at times looks invincible? This dude is 7'4". He moves like a small forward. He's athletic, he's agile, and he's falling in love with shooting threes. And then when it's nut cutting time, when it's crunch time, he can't get up underneath the basket and get a simple layup. Man, the era is kind of whack, bro. He turned from whatever he was into Anthony Davis, and it just went all downhill from there. So they play well by being a good team. I like Brunson. I don't want to take that away from him, but moving him into the top 4, it ain't even close. Not
top
even
4
close.
Among small guards. Now, I'm not.
So, Don, let me ask you a question. Don. What do these people have in common? Jimmy Walker, Matty Gukas, John Mengelt, and Sam Lacey. What do they have in common?
Man, I
don't know who they are.
They were the starting lineup with Tiny Archibald. That's why they only won 30 games. You don't even know who they are. They're terrible. They're terrible.
That's why they won 30 games.
They were terrible.
And that's what you did.
Dude, I know plenty of players from that era. You don't know any of those guys. Those guys are terrible. They're terrible, Don. Brunson would win 15 games with that starting lineup. Boom.
I'm gonna bring a name up to you guys, and when I bring this name up, you guys are probably gonna all agree that he should probably be on y'all's top 4. Mahmoud, Raouf, Chris Jackson, which are my favorite 6 feet under player ever.
What was that moment you was like, I'm in the league now?
Mahmoud. His go-to move was pop. You know what I'm saying? And if he don't get you with the pop, he gonna hit you with the pump fake.
Yep.
Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. And people that see Steph now, it remind me of him. He was the first dude, like
pull
he
it
got
off
some
that.
sauce on that thing. Pump fake, and he'll hit you with the.
Was there a player in that era that you think would destroy in 2023?
I think Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, but I think he would do like major numbers because he was such an unbelievable shooter. He was like a perfection shooter.
his off the bounce.
What y'all
dribble.
think?
We missed that one. We overlooked it, and I would not.
He was a
put
bad boy
Jalen
now.
Brunson
Now,
over
that's
him either.
I
I couldn't
agree.
put
I
Jalen
would
Brunson
agree
over
with
him.
you all that he was a
I
bad
just think
boy.
he got blackballed, and that's what hurt him.
He 100% got blackballed, but he was a super talented player. But because of all the stuff that was going on around, Chris Jackson has admitted and said in many interviews and in-depth portfolios that because of all the stuff that was going on, he allowed himself to not be in shape on multiple occasions and not to be in the game mentally the way he would have. And all of that stuff impacted his actual play on the court. So who he could have been, Don, you're right, and should have been, Troy, based on his talent. If they didn't mess with him, yes, but his impact his game was impacted because of all the BS he had to go through. So when you put his body of work out there, he had some seasons where he just did not play that well. It was because he was depressed and going through all that stuff. So
he definitely had some issues going on
from an
Yeah.
actual
in his
results.
personal life.
Yeah, from the
Yeah.
results, you can't put him on the list because of all the stuff that he allowed. And when I say allowed, I only say that because that's the only phrase I can use. He was depressed. He was going through a lot. He got overweight. He got out of shape. He was mentally not, able to deal with all that stuff.
Yep.
And
Yep.
when you look at his background as a child and all the stuff he went through at home, you would understand too why those things impact him. So from a talent standpoint, yes. From outcomes, I can't put him on that list ahead of those guys.
No, I agree. And
Allen Iverson, Z.
and the only
Allen Iverson, Z.
I don't have him ahead of Iverson.
Tony Parker,
F the chef.
John Stockton. Pull somebody off of there for me. Kyrie Irving. Who do we take down? Who do we take down out of those names?
You can take down for me if you're gonna put the resume up, right? If you're gonna put the resume up as far as everything that goes along with it, that dude stands with all of them. You can pick whoever you want to pick, and you can't be wrong. I don't think you can pick a Mount Rushmore here and be wrong because it's really based on your feelings of who you think is better. But if you put his resume up with everybody that's ever played the game at 6'2" and under, it's right there with him.
Here's one factor.
You are insane, bro. You guys are insane. You are talking about 1 year, and this dude ain't.
No, I'm not. I'm not talking about his career.
This is 8th year. This is 8th year in the league. And ain't nobody even really, he ain't no house. He ain't even a household name until this year.
Man, it took Jordan 7 years before he won his championship, dude. So
Jordan had his shoe by his third or second or third year.
Jalen Brunson could have his shoe too, but he chose not to in honor of Kobe Bryant. He took his shoe.
He took $100 less to be able to make the Knicks better.
Michael Jordan now. We comparing Brunson to Michael Jordan.
You made a statement that said he ain't won a championship until his 8th year. I'm just saying the greatest, the GOAT of all time, didn't win one till like his 7th year.
Well, we wasn't even looking for him until almost to the last part
and
of
that's
the
the
year.
thing. That's why I think you guys are missing. He's been under the radar. He's been an under the radar player ever since he came in the league. They doubted him. They've been doubting that dude forever.
Don, I will tell you this:
a second round pick, a 2-time. He won the Naismith Player of the Year award and was drafted in the 2nd round. That's crazy.
Let me say this just for the sake of edification for Don.
Because of his size.
I'm not a new on the side of Jalen Brunson from a great player standpoint. I remember when he was in Dallas, I specifically had many conversations with people where I said, this guy needs to go to another team where he can be featured because he is not getting the shine at Dallas like he should. I am a huge Jalen Brunson fan. I certainly always felt like he didn't get his due on the teams. Part of the thing, though,
why did he leave? Why did he leave Dallas, Greg?
Because he wasn't the main guy, and he could get more money being the premier player somewhere else. I mean, that's
they
just
replaced him with Greg.
Who did the Dallas? Well, Kyrie Irving eventually became their point guard.
And where did they go when he left? Did they make it back to the final?
They made it back to the lottery after they left him. And New York has been Eastern Conference Finals into the playoffs every year. Brunson's been there.
I'm not here. Exactly. Here's my thing. Here's my thing about some of the guys, Chuck, that what goes into my evaluation of guys. I don't think if you're not the best player on your team, that it's hard for me to put you in any GOATs or, Mount Rushmore conversations. So for me, that's one of the criteria. You got to at least be the best guy on your team.
That's what I'm saying.
I think
Kyrie could never win when he wasn't the best player on the team.
I don't think Tony Parker, but that goes back to Don, what I think I'm saying regarding your championship deal. Yes, they're the best person on their team, but I think because you have other great players along with you, that's what gets you over the edge. There's been some historically great players like a Charles Barkley, right? I would put him on the Mount Rushmore of power forwards, but he never won a championship. Karl Malone has got to be on that, and he never won a championship. Now, they might be Carl, because he did have some great players around him, might be more culpable of why didn't you get over the hump. But again, like you just said, there happened to be this guy named Michael Jordan in the league at the time that prevented a lot of the GOATs or all-time greats at their position in a championship. That's why I can't use championship as a big marker. It's down the list. It's way down the list for me because it requires so many other things. But your play, and the reason why I elevate Tiny, let me just say this, Don. The reason I elevate him, because I can take a snapshot and a point in time where he was better than everybody else at multiple things that played at the same time as him in things that really matter. Scoring points really matters, and assists really matters. He didn't just lead his team. He didn't just lead a conference. He led everybody in the entire NBA. If the rest of his team can't help him get to a championship when he's already 2/4 of the 4 most important statistics in the league, that's not a him problem. That's a management problem. And they didn't surround him with enough guys in order for him to win that championship. So that's really what my argument rests on. I think Jalen Brunson is in that next group of guys, and Chuck, some of the guys that you mentioned are in that next group because they don't have that leader on the team. It's not about their championship because Kyrie got a chip, but they weren't even the best on their team. So it's hard for me to put them on a Mount Rushmore.
Well, that's how this whole conversation got started. Is that, that how many players like 6'3" and under has ever been the best player on the team that led their team to a championship? It's only been 2 other ones other than Brunson. That's Isaiah Thomas and Steph Curry. Those are the only 2 guys in the history of the NBA that was able to, in a big man's game, was able to be the best player on that team and lead their team to the championship. And that's
but you're not to me, you're not considering
what I'm
the
saying
time.
Huh?
You're not considering the era that they playing in too. Like
it don't matter.
That has a lot to do with it.
NBA,
it does matter. It does matter. Like, so but you're saying as if the competition was so high. To me, this New York team is a good team, but quite frankly, you could look and see who they playing against wasn't that good of a team. They're a great all around team. So being the best player on a great all around team doesn't mean like you just stand out all-star. Redefining the game. You're not doing that.
He's the best player on this team, and he won the chip, and that's only been done by 2 other guys. That's fact. That you can name any other variables all you want to, but that's the fact, man. And
but you like every time you come up with meet that, you change the criteria. So now it's you the best player on this team.
That's my criteria from day one.
That's
we got on this topic. That's always been my criteria.
That wasn't the best team. Y'all said the best. It was the best 6'2" and under Mount Rushmore.
You're not right. That too.
Decision.
But that's not my criteria. I put him in that category. I put him in that category because he accomplished that. He's been only other 2 other guys has done that. His size.
That don't mean you are look. Nobody in their right. None of y'all would take that dude. Or I can name 5 dudes right now, and none of y'all would take him over them. Right now, if we did a draft, you would not take Jalen Brunson over none of these.
There's only
if we did a draft. If we did a draft right now, tell me who you would take then. Tell me, would you take him over Steph? Would you take him over AI? Would you take him over Z? Would you take him over Kyrie?
Yes.
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 Kyrie had multiple opportunities
because he's winning player.
Out your rabbit minds.
So if you want to win, let me tell you about moving the goalposts. So Don, you said one of your things is that there's only been 3 guys in the history that's ever won a championship at 6'2" and under, and he's one of them. That's an amazing. Only 3 people in history, right? That's one of your criteria, right?
That's one of my criteria of determining my thought. Yes.
Right.
That's
So let me say this. Only one person ever in the history of basketball for the whole entirety of the NBA and whatever has ever led the league in assists and scoring at the same time. Only
That's
one.
because you don't value the championships. I do.
One of what?
The winning
I
championships.
do value winning championships. But
that is at the
team.
Who's the greatest coach of all time? John Wooden, right? He had the pyramid. Winning championships is at the top of the pyramid. Not getting the
but winning championships is a direct result of how good you are as a coach. You affect how good a team is as a coach. One player.
So you saying he won it because of the coach? Who was New York Knicks coach?
No.
No, we're talking about UCLA. UCLA won the championship because of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and the other.
Now you guys changing the narrative of what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the top of that pyramid is winning. The goal is winning the championship. You have any great coach, the goal. You look at Don James. Then is that a better analogy for you? At the top of his pyramid was winning the championship. That's what I'm saying.
What I just told you ain't following along. What I said is, as a coach, winning the championship means something because you affect that more than anybody else. That is your criteria for being a good coach.
No, that's not my point.
All I'm saying is Don elevated something that only 3 people in history have ever done.
don't agree.
I showed you something
greatest thing is winning the championship.
One person in history has ever done, but that don't matter.
Hey, let's take it back.
Winning championships, right? That's the ultimate. It's winning the championship.
Only one team wins the championship every year. So everybody else is no good, but that one team. Only one team wins the championship every year.
Right, and the guys that accomplish that goal is gonna have an edge in these GOAT conversations. We're nitpicking, like I said. We're looking at what they accomplished. The hardest thing to do is win the championship. That's the hardest thing to do.
That's the hardest thing for a team to do.
Winning the championship is much harder than leading the team in scoring. How many guys that led the team in scoring have won championships?
No. I got a guy who's the only person in the history. How many people have played?
Very few guys that lead the leagues in scoring has won the championship. Hey, Russell Westbrook led he had a triple. He averaged a triple double. How many championships did he win?
And what does
I think Russell Westbrook did lead the league in
scoring. What's better than?
Okay, let me ask you a question, Don. How many teams have won the NBA championship, Don?
How many teams have won the NBA championship?
39 or 38.
38 or 39? Okay. So there's 38 or 39 people that have done what Jalen Brunson's done. There's 30 because there's somebody on every one of those teams who was the best player on that team.
39 or 30 people has done. You can use that analogy about anything, Greg.
How many people have ever led the entire NBA in points and assists?
How many people have led the
NBA in points and assists at the same time? How many people have ever done that?
Well, maybe 1 or 2, maybe.
1. That's it.
That's a dumb analogy, dude.
No, it's not.
Every year somebody's going to win a championship, dude.
You just talked about, hold on, stop.
Every year
that's what I mean by changing the narrative. You just said he's the only person who's 6'2" who led his team to there's only been 3. But that's a smart analogy. But one person who's ever done anything.
Man, you're trying to change the whole narrative, dude.
I'm not changing no narrative. You are the king of moving the goalposts.
Greg, dang, you overanalyzing things, man. Come on. You overthinking it, man.
The king
All
of
I'm saying is,
goalposts,
when you win the chip,
Troy, somebody
who's
done something that only 3 people ever done, but somebody who's done only one person ever done, don't matter. You see what I mean about moving the goalposts?
That don't mean he's better than my guy. That don't make him better. That's not harder. That's not more difficult than winning the championship.
Well, how come only one person's ever done it in the history of the game if it's not hard?
I didn't say it wasn't hard. I said it's not harder than win. I said it's not harder than winning the championship, dude.
Yes, it is.
Just try to put words in my mouth.
It is because 39 people have won the championship.
I didn't stutter that time.
It's harder. It's harder.
No way. Winning the championship is the hardest thing to do in sports, man. I can't believe you said
somebody
that.
wins it every year, Don. Somebody wins it every year.
I guarantee you, if we did a poll,
Somebody wins it every year.
How the winning the championship or leading the league and scoring an assist?
Well, how come one person's never done it?
Hardest.
You know what's hard to do? Lying. I didn't know we was lying tonight. That's all I'm saying. Because I didn't know we was lying tonight.
That's lying because you can't prove your point.
Just prove mine.
Hey, I got one thing to say on behalf of Jalen Brunson. He went on the road in a closeout game, dropped 45 points. His team won the game with his second best player in foul trouble only getting 2 points. We cannot say that he had a bunch of help. He on his team
over, dude.
That narrative is over.
He had a bunch of role players, man.
Let me tell you why that doesn't hold up, Troy. Because there are other players on that team, and just because the quote unquote designated who you say is the second best player had 2 points, somebody else played well that day. That person was the second best player that day. You can't tell me who's designated as the second best player if he doesn't do well. If everybody else scores 50 points, Troy, it don't matter what the second best player did or didn't do. Somebody else stepped up. Somebody else had a good game.
Nobody else had.
You sugarcoating greatness, dude. That was greatness what he did. You just make it. You sugarcoating greatness.
Who said it wasn't great, Don?
Hey,
now you're changing.
That's cool that we got. To me,
it's what people said.
You got to give the dude his props, man. That statement was not even necessary. This dude,
he gets
team
props,
by
but
the horn, led his
better
team
than
to the championship.
He just
one time.
Tiny Archibald took his team and led his team to 30 wins.
And you can't name one person who was on the team with him. You can't name one person who was on the team with him. Not one.
Hey,
I told you who the starters were, and you were like, "Who are those guys? I never heard of them."
No.
You ain't never even heard of them. Hey, Chuck, look, he couldn't name one.
I heard guys when I
told him the names. I told him the names. I told him the names, and he couldn't even tell who they were, Chuck.
Because I was 1 year old. I was just a year old, Greg. You
never heard of Google?
You Googled it. Right.
You know who Wilt Chamberlain is? You know who Wilt Chamberlain is?
I'm taking it in.
You know who Nate Archibald was.
He was good enough. He was good enough to get some press.
I don't get too high damns about Nate Archibald or Jalen Brunson. My thing was this: right now, with any of y'all feel that just because you win one championship puts you in the GOAT talk. You can say that about what's the Canadian kid name, DPK or whatever y'all call him.
But Shea, talk about guys 6'2" and under, man. Shea's almost.
You got to make sure you explain the narrative.
Yes.
No.
Shea's almost.
No. I'm saying in any narrative, just say shooting guard. Then could you put him in that GOAT talk?
But so you leaving out a lot of stuff though.
We're not calling him.
I think what you did
about start putting him in some conversations. Straight MVPs.
What's that?
I think they're putting him in the GOAT.
MVP 2 years in a row. You might can start putting him in the conversation.
Championship. Criteria keeps talking about this one championship thing, which I think is fugazi. It's bogus at best because how you what did you do the other 7 years?
The criteria is because nobody else has done it though.
This your 8th year in the league. You did that one time.
No, other people have done it.
What's that?
Winning the chip is a whole different category than the 6th record.
Yeah, but it's not. No, you saying go.
Doug, you keep trying to minimize the fact that he did both at the same time, and no one else.
I don't care. He can lead the team in steals. He can lead the team in block shots.
In the history, no one's in the history of the game. He's so good,
man.
He's so good. He can do something that nobody else can do.
Legends are born by winning.
So if it's so easy, Don. If it's so easy, Don. How come nobody else has done it?
The stat teams outside, you see, it's
only one team gets to win. Only one team gets to win.
30-win team, man.
And only one team gets to win each year.
Man, that argument is weak, dog.
And Allen Iverson never won a championship, and you put him in it, so you're contradicting yourself.
No. What I'm saying is you have to at least make your team to get your team to the playoffs.
Now it's not a championship. Troy, did you see that?
You gotta look.
Troy,
prove you're a winner.
First it was the championship. Now it's get your team to the playoffs. First it was the championship.
No,
see how he moves
you had more.
But Allen Iverson, it's not getting to the championship for Allen Iverson. Troy, Charles, did you see that? for Allen Iverson is getting your team to the playoffs. It's not about winning the championship.
It's going to change.
You misinterpreting what I'm saying to try to prove your weak argument.
And just like
that's what you're trying to do.
You can't base this. You can't base somebody's production based on factors they can't control. So other people being in the league,
that's what I say. That's why I say if you win,
make them not the best player.
If you win at any point in your career, if you look at his record throughout Tiny Op's record throughout his career, he always had a losing record until he got
because he never played. As soon as he got with good players, they won. He never played other good team. Don, no one can elevate bums. Jalen Brunson would not have gotten that team to the playoffs. Absolutely not. Those guys I just named.
Then he's in that category with what if? I don't know. Maybe he could have. I don't know. All I know, Jalen Brunson done it. That's all I know. That's why I got him in the edge. That's why.
And I can name every one of them
in the edge because
every one of the players he played was good.
Man. I can't go by what if this or if that. I don't go by if you know it, dude.
That's all these conversations are. That's all these conversations are, is about what if and maybe and all of that, because none of these guys got a chance to play against each other. None of these guys got to go head up. None of these guys got to play in the same era. So
that's why we logically have to debate these things.
Who did something that nobody else could do? Jalen Brunson cannot lead the league in scoring or assists.
In 1970, I think he could have.
Can't do it.
Greg, what year was that he led the league in scoring and assists?
73.
73?
73. On a weak team, I think Jalen could have done that.
No.
I think he could have
because
easily.
The whole defense only has to stop you,
averaging 28 a game, 28 points.
Stop you. All they
you
got
act
to do
like
is stop you.
You act like he's averaging 20 points a game or something. This dude is averaging 28.
Don, you're taking it all the way down to me saying Jalen Brunson is a bum. I never said that. I just said he's not.
I never said Tiny Archibald was a bum either.
I didn't say he said that. But you just said, I'm saying
he was a bum for about 7 years.
That's all I'm saying. I never said that. Never said that.
Chuck, how was he a bum when he made it to the Eastern Conference Finals a couple years in a row?
He's a 4-time All-Star, Chuck. He couldn't have been.
I'm just saying though. I'm saying when your exact words, Don. Your exact words when we're talking about GOATs, we gotta be nitpicky. And in this group of people we talking about,
never called nobody. I wouldn't say none of them was a bum.
Guys on the list is a bum.
I mean, compared to the other bum. That's what I'm saying. Like you can't compare him to the list.
Yeah,
Chuck, I think
that was read off. You can't compare him to that list.
Yeah, because I think to some degree, though, Chuck, you're elevating their argument to say that he's a GOAT of the NBA when they're not saying he's a GOAT of the NBA. They're compartmentalizing this to 6'2" and under guards. So you can be on that list.
I'm saying no. What I'm saying is
he ain't getting in nobody's overall GOAT conversation.
And under GOATs. If you take 6'2" and under GOATs in comparison to them, bum. There's no way this dude is on this list of these other people. There ain't no way. There's no way. This dude came off with 1 championship. That's it. Period.
All the time. We argued all night about this.
Fell asleep on y'all last night with this.
but put it on the people.
Look up who was on that team.
You know who you guys think was right? Is Jalen Brunson in your GOAT conversation when it comes to 6'2" and under point guards? You know, on your Mount Rushmore. Let us know who is your Mount Rushmore. I'd love to know that.
Absolutely. Hey, man, it was a fun conversation. I think me and Don was right, but y'all can let us know. But we had a great conversation, man. It was a fun series. Y'all make sure that you like and subscribe, and make sure that you get in on this with us, and make sure you call us right, call us wrong. And those of you that agree with us, let us know. Those of you that don't, let us know that too. And it was fun talking with y'all today. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.